Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I'm Drake. Welcome to Working Dragon Mystic and our Magical Coffee Hour. During Magical Coffee Hour, we like to jump in here. We like to have a little bit of an occult chat with the community, answer some Q&A, and perhaps give a few updates if we have any with the community. Also, speaking of the community, we do have a Working Dragon Mystic community that we are building. You can find the link here at the top or below in our newer videos. We're finally bringing the online school, the community, the live chats, the workshops, everything into one place at one time. Um, we're just building a wonderful community over there. There is a place over there where you can sign up for, I think it's $10 a month to support everything we do. There's a lot of free content over there. You don't have to support us, but if you do support us, there's a lot of great perks and stuff as well. One of the ones that I'm excited about is I asked the community recently what live workshop would they like to do. And one of the ones that was tossed out there was a practical methodology of measuring the development of astral travel or projection and how you're developing in it and the potential of moving into soul travel. That's an excellent one. And I have taught a lot of one-on-one in-person classes. It's hard to do with videos, but I do think a live workshop might actually be a great way to do it. So I'm in the process right now of pulling a lot of my notes into the practical applications of that and the high standards I hold to my personal students to actually do that workshop. Supporters, you're going to get free access to that workshop. When it is posted, it will be a workshop people can purchase their way into and they can get access to it and take the workshop with us. But the supporters, they'll be able to just join us on in for free. And after the live workshop, we like to leave the workshops up for a week or two so that if you sign up and you miss the live, you can at least join us and watch later on your day off from work. Because people got to work, right? People's got to work. Work is good. So we're not going to make you miss work. All right. It's not posted yet. I don't know exactly when we're doing it, but that is the one the community was talking about. I thought that was a great idea. So that's the one I'm working on getting up next. Just so y'all know, if you're interested, head on over there, sign up for free if you want, become a supporter if you want, and keep an eye out for when that workshop's dropping. We are still in the move of moving everything over there. I have been basically stuck in the office all week, updating the online school and everything because we're moving it over there. It's been a crazy and exciting thing. But it's been amazing to watch the community start their interactions and start sharing their topics and discussions. It's been amazing. All right, everybody, welcome. Kuan Yin, good to see you. Claw, welcome. Kenny, good to see you. Thomas as well. Matthias, hope you're doing well. Also, if you are in here, give us a thumbs up. It helps us with that pesky algorithm. It does like to know people are interacting with the videos, especially the live videos. It seems live videos aren't as algorithm popular as pre-recorded. So our lives need all the help we can get. Also, someone told me I hadn't mentioned this in weeks, and I don't think I have. I think you actually nailed me on this. We do offer spell working for anyone who does a super chat of $5 or more during the live streams, or I think they call them super thanks on YouTube. It's a weird name. But if you do any kind of tip like that during the week, every Monday I do spell working for prosperity, health, well-being, good luck, and good fortune for all the people who do the super chats of $5 or more with or without a question. So yeah, there you go. And if you have a really important question, we get busy. Sometimes just do a quick super chat of even the smallest amount. It'll make it flash all sparkly on the screen, and those kinds of thingies can help us out. We appreciate it. Mugs up to you. See. Joshuki, welcome. Saeed, welcome. Good to see you. Well, just recovering from 3 weeks of overtime. All right. Good. Congrats on that overtime. I used to love working overtime. I really did. I loved those paychecks. Well, I should say I love the paychecks. Most of the jobs, it was a pain to be there. There were a couple jobs I enjoyed being there, but most of the time it was a pain in the butt, and I just enjoyed the paychecks. Hello, Jade. How are you doing? Glad you could make it. Always good to see you here and ready to throw clocks at me when the time comes. Kwon Yin, thank you for the super chat. Mugs up to you. Appreciate that. No question. That's a big old 10 out of 10 thing, ain't it? I haven't seen that particular sticker icon. Thank you. All right. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight, this is one that's hitting me hard. And I'm wanting to do some videos on it coming up. So you're going to see some Dragon Magic videos specifically on this one. But I always tell y'all to go back and read your journals, right? Go back and look at your journals, look at your notes and those kinds of things. And I do this, I'm pretty sure I've said on this channel, I do this at least 2 to 4 times a year where I review my own personal workings through the year and for the past year, right? Well, occasionally, I also find myself perusing my older journals when, I get a free minute or so. I'm sitting there, maybe eating lunch, having a coffee break. I'm flipping through some really old journals. And I was doing some reorganization this week. And because of that, some of my older, what I would even refer to as my more prized journals, I was flipping through. And there's a lot of thoughts I've had about dragon magic and practices, and you can even call it personal gnosises and things that I share. And some of those things, I've had personal gnosis since then that's, having me double guess personal gnosis from the past. And I've told people you got to always be willing to let your personal gnosis be wrong or change, because sometimes gnosis can be the right thing for you at the time. Even as a teacher, it can be the right cardinal point to teach before you're taught something different and new. And it's a real tricky point for anyone who talks about their practice publicly and shares it for other people to try and apply it, especially because some people, what happens if I was wrong? Well, you admit you're wrong. That's pretty much it. But then you got people who their ego gets in the way and they can't admit that they found a different way, a better way, or, this didn't exactly work the way they thought it did. It functioned. It gave the results they wanted, but there was nuances there they hadn't seen before. Right. And there's a lot of that I think we all run into. I really do. And it's an important thing for us all to go through our journals and find, whether we're working on our arcane senses or meditation or whatever, you can find times where you can sit down and you can apply it a little differently and figure things out, right? That's one of the reasons I'm a big believer in, is what you're doing working for you? Is it giving you the results you want? Great. Keep on doing it. I don't believe in this one way up the mountain. That's it. There's only one true path. I don't believe in it. Never have. Likely never will. In fact, I'd say that's probably the safest statement for me, is I'll never believe in that one way. But what's it? Dang Valentine's ad. They're putting Valentine's ads on my channel. I don't even celebrate Valentine's Day. I hate that day. So if anyone wonders what I do for Valentine's Day, me and my wife, who've been happily married with no issues for 25 years and been together longer than that, we don't celebrate it. It's that simple, because here's a clue. Here's a trick. I don't need a special holiday on a calendar to tell her I love her. If you need a day to tell your spouse, your significant other, you love them, don't waste your time. That's pretty much it. That's just it. All I've ever seen it do is it's a holiday to get people in trouble. That's all it is, in my opinion. I've never been a fan of it. The best Valentine's Day I ever celebrated was with a buddy of mine, because the way him and his wife celebrated it, and when my wife was in boot camp, they invited me along. They went down to the shooting range and unloaded mass amounts of ammunition downrange, celebrating the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. We even wore the pinstripe suits and everything. Greatest. That was the best one. But yeah, I can't do anything about the ads. They actually done this update. Someone told me that now that even if you turn off ads, YouTube can still run ads on your channel, because it's, they're supporting the channel and they're platforming the channel and stuff like that. It's just you're not getting ad money. So I don't even know that I can do ad-free content at all on YouTube. That's something weird. But, is what it is. They got to make money too, and I'm grateful they're making money because they give us a free platform to share on, right? And they're nice enough to even give us a small cut. So I'll take that. All right, let's see what we got in here. Let's see. I've heard the same thing from other long-term relationships. Yeah, it's just simple. Like I sometimes I bug the piss on my wife sometimes, but I make sure she knows I love her one way or the other. Hell, this weekend just on a wild hair. Perfect example. I needed to go get fruit for some mead I was making. I knew I needed it, so I just had to get up, go to the store, run out. I decided to grab the stuff to make Southern biscuits and gravy. That's one of her favorite dishes where we've both been eating healthier. We don't have it often. It might be like once a year if we're lucky. So I just came home and surprised her and said, you know what? With dinner tonight on the side of that steak, I'm going to park some biscuits and gravy for you. Because I love her. You do stuff like that. Let's see. My wife's B-Day is the day after Valentine's Day. Well, yeah, you got to celebrate the birthday. Birthday is definitely a good day. I don't let her get away without me celebrating her birthday in some way. See, Joshua Key, it's a consumer. Yeah, pretty much. It's a good way to sell greeting cards and chocolates and other stuff. But at the same time, I can't begrudge a business for wanting to sell something that's just smart. Doesn't mean I have to celebrate it though. So, yeah. But like I was saying, when it comes to, you got to shift things around a bit and look at how you're doing them. And I've not fully formulated my thoughts on these. I'm still looking through the journals and meditating. But there's a few things I may want to clarify because, like I said, I don't think there is one way up the mountain. I've had people ask when they take Dragon Magic 101, they're like, I have a guardian dragon because I did this, this, and this, and it doesn't resemble your ritual. Okay, what do you want me to say? You did it wrong? Because if you have a guardian dragon and it worked for you, I'm not going to be the you did it right or wrong police. It's like you can follow the same ritual and you can walk through the path working just fine. And you can go ahead and do that section and see if anything changes in any way for you, maybe, or you can skip it. You purchased the course. It's your path working to follow it how you want. I generally follow path workings literally to the detail first time I need to do any path working. But, that's just, that's just how I am. But yeah, it's been an interesting thing going through those journals because there's a few things like, and I've talked to you all so much, whether it be on Coffee Hour or I've done so many videos at this point, I can't tell where I've said one thing and then where I've corrected and changed my mind because I just don't know. There's been so many comments made, it's kind of crazy. Let's see. With that said, do you all have any questions? What is this goal thing? There's a new goal thing at the top of my thing. Oh, apparently we can set super chat goals and do like, I guess, raise money goals or something now. Interesting. Who knows? If we come up with a project that we need to fund, I might use that button. I've never seen that button. I don't think that button was there last week. That's weird. And that's what it says, man. Funding. Huh? Look at that. Huh. Okay. They give me new buttons. I don't know what to do with them. What are different beings in the draconic realm that you may or may not interact with? So, I'll be honest. Most of the things out in the wilds, I haven't taken time to deal with because the things out in those wilds are dangerous to dragons, and dragons will by and large tell you not to wander out there. Period. So I really can't name them specifically. I have seen one that looked like I don't even know how you'd begin to describe that. It would almost be like if you took something the size of a blue whale but it was more of like a buffalo lion Texas Longhorn hybrid, and just pissed off and filled with destruction. That's the best way I could describe whatever the flip that thing was. And at that particular time and venture, I asked my co-magician about it, and he said, "Don't worry about that right now." And I don't recall ever going back and asking him about it later, so I don't know. In truth, as to what you may or may not interact with, if you mean what do you have permission, that's going to be up to the dragons. I can't give you permission one way or the other. All right, Matthias, give us a question. You got it? We're always here to answer questions for y'all. That's not a problem. Do keep them, we'll say, family friendly, because we are still on YouTube here. We stream live here on Rumble and YouTube. Well, when I remember to set Rumble up, which I did this week. But we still got to keep it family friendly. For the uncensored, that's why we have the community. Come over to the Working Dragon Mystic community, which Jade and Immortal both dropped links to for uncensored stuff. Claw, could you please talk a bit about local land spirits and how to get in touch with them? Yeah, so there's a variety of ways to get in touch with local land spirits. In fact, if I recall correctly, I actually did an entire section in our evocation course about getting in touch with local spirits and land spirits, and working with them, even getting sigils from them so you can begin evoking them, because that's something I do every time I go there. So there's a lot of different methodologies that people use. Honestly, for me, over the years, talking with magicians, my recommendation, and honestly, it's become my favorite method, would be meditation / trance, or even, if you can manage it, stepping outside yourself. Not astral travel per se, but it is a form of it where you're essentially traveling around the physical realm outside yourself, because that will put you on that level to where you can perceive what's around you with your arcane senses. Another great way is to open your arcane senses and go for a walk. I absolutely love doing that myself. So anytime I'm going for a walk around local areas, whether it's a natural park, the city park, a waterway, I'm out boating, or just out hiking, I will open my arcane senses to their fullest, so I'm made aware of any nature spirits in those local areas that I might be able to meet up with. In some of the shorts, I shot an area of one of the parks that was nearby where there's a beautiful little Asian garden. That place was filled with nature spirits. But that aside, sometimes you can't just get around and walk all the time, right? So one of my favorite ways to, let's say, peruse the area would be the best way to say it. Since these spirits are always flitting in and out in multiple ways, I usually make a point to sit down, get into a good meditative state or even a trance state. And I start by expanding my arcane sight, my arcane hearing, and all my arcane senses, not just at my level, but I push out to the room. First, I want to get to where I can feel the whole room. And this is hard for a lot of people, because when you're pushing out your senses fully, you're picking up on everything. Now, this gets creepy. It really does. It's even creepy just at the room, because you're feeling every little thing, every sensation in the room. To the point, like if there's a fly in the room, you're feeling the fly's legs, you're feeling the fly's wings. If there's a spider crawling on a wall, your senses become part of the wall, which means you feel that spider crawling on you. Okay, well, we need to go bigger because we're trying to find an area. So with every breath, you start pushing that senses out a little more and a little more. And it gets hard to hold. It gets really hard to hold, because if you sneeze or something and your focus breaks, it doesn't stay here and go fuzzy. It goes. So it comes into a discipline section. And of course, if you don't like bugs crawling on you, if you don't like feeling wet dirt or mud or grass or something, and you run into that with your senses, you're going to have to get past your discomfort of that, unfortunately. That is a great way to handle an area. And generally, that's a great way to handle the area around a home or an apartment for people who live in a city. You can expand your senses in this manner to be aware of nature spirits or natural spirits, even in cities. People get this ideal that nature spirits and localized spirits don't exist in cities because it's concrete. Concrete and steel are as much a part of nature as a tree. There's not a difference really in steel and concrete and a tree being made into lumber. There's really not. They are a part of nature. So those spirits do still exist in cities. And if you can ID them, if you can focus on them, then you can move your attention and, close off your senses so you're just focusing on them, and you can try to reach out with them, try to say hello and try to talk with them. That's usually the best way to do it outside actually getting out in nature. Now, I do think the getting out in nature with your arcane senses open is the best way to do it. As often as I move and everything, I use both methods because when I first move, right, anytime we first move, every time we move, the military moves us, we always get to the house before our stuff. I want to say this particular time we were here with no stuff for a week. So there were plenty of chances for me to sit in the living room floor and expand my senses and get to meet the local spirits, as it were, and to build that repertoire up. And it was actually fun because the military has put us in this particular area before. So I was actually able to check base with some of the spirits that I had previously met before because we're not in the exact same area. So it was kind of cool to touch base with some I'd met previously as well. But even with that, I always make that point to get out and walk. Get out, open my arcane senses and walk. Be part of the environment. If you're wanting to work with local spirits, you need to be part of that environment. You can't be an armchair magician. You can't just sit in your house, you can't just do the meditation and trance. You can't just evoke them to you. You have to go to them, right? You have to go to them as much as you want them to come to you. It has to be an equal relationship. Because if it's not, then you're not going to be what they would view as an ally and a friend. And that can bring about some bad lucks. Does that make some sense? I hope so. All right. Let's see. The idea of something being dangerous to a dragon is a new kind of existential fear. Hey, it happens. No matter who you are, what you are, there's always something that can be a danger to you. Always. That's part of the balance. Let's see. Basically had the healing meditation from the meditation course. Wasn't expecting anything past visualization. Instead, arcane sight kicked in harder than it had before. Awesome. That's pretty cool. That's one reason I recommend starting with meditation. You don't have to, but I do. Because meditation really is foundational for everything else we magicians do. And it'll improve everything you do. Even if it's just sigil magic. If all you want to do is sigil magic, meditation will still improve it. Josh Yuki, can entities help us without us contacting them? Yes, a lot of them will just randomly for funsies help a person. We've got plenty of instances of that in history and myth and lore. But it's not like they just pick a human and follow them around. It's more of, oh, look, this thing's happened. I'm going to do this here. And sometimes it's for fun. Sometimes it's because they just want. I mean, the reasons help. Sometimes it can be because they're going to help you because this person pissed them off. It can be as varied as we are. Like there's plenty of times where I've seen person, like I've told people I'm the most social, antisocial person you'll ever meet. At the same time, I'm a very helpful person. I will help people for the damnedest reasons. So yeah, entities can do it. We don't have to contact them. But at the same time, it's not getting entities to help you. as a magician, it's about taking control and steering your boat. Like if you just let your boat go to the wind, it's going to go where it goes, and anyone can tow your boat and help you and whatnot. But you just don't give a shit. So yeah, there's plenty of things constantly interacting with us in life. Whether it's not just people, it's not just weather, it's not just the environment you're in. If you're looking at it from a metaphysical level, it is literally every energetic wavelength and pattern throughout the multiverse is interacting with us in some way. The magician just tries to steer their boat within that, instead of just letting it get knocked around randomly. Let's see, back Matthias. So I could see the river I was sitting in front of, visualize, and then there was an entity which instantly got face to face with me and grabbed me by the face, not physically. Didn't seem threatening per se, and feel like it may have been an air elemental. So any thought on that? Sorry for the long description. No. You are dealing with elements in that particular meditation, even though it's most people think more about the water in that, but anytime you're around water, you're going to feel air. So air and water elementals kind of go together like peanut butter and jelly. It very well could have been. It could have been. I wasn't there, so I can't, hardcore, dive in and say this is what it was. If that happens, try to maintain your focus and say hello. See if you can introduce yourself. If an entity pops up in a meditation or something I'm doing, I usually try to say hi. I usually try to acknowledge it in some way to learn more about it. Because I want to know, is it an entity that can respond to me? Is this an entity I'm constructing? Or is this just a random energy pattern that's acting weird? So yeah, I usually just actually try to introduce myself. Let's see, Claw. Makes sense. Thanks, Rick. No problem. And if you do purchase the evocation course, like I said, it's in there. Random spirits and elemental spirits, we go over that. In fact, in my current house, there's a ghost here. We didn't know who or what it was. I actually, since I knew I had to do the ritual to find out who this spirit was, I actually filmed it for that course. And actually, it's been great. It has been absolutely great having that particular spirit with us this whole time. They have a great taste in music. They will turn on the music all the time. We did ask them to stop turning it on while we were asleep. They apologize for that when they haven't done that since. But they do have a good taste in music. Luckily. That would suck if your ghost didn't like the same music as you. And well, actually, I should say there's a good chunk of their playlist I'd never heard before. Like, I've never heard of some of these songs, but I like them. They're now on my playlist. Because honestly, if like a radio's coming on, especially like, these little automatic voice devices and stuff, and they're just playing your playlist and your music and your songs, more than likely that's a malfunction of the machine. That's not a ghost. Say, Jam, the tools and talismans in your new video look amazing. Oh, you're talking to Immortal. Okay. I was like, huh? I don't remember any tools and talismans. Yes, Immortal makes some amazing tools and talismans and stuff. I might be jumping the gun. I hope I'm not. But Immortal, didn't you say some of those were going to be giveaways for community supporters? Correct me if I'm wrong. Totally correct me so I can correct that live if I'm wrong. But I was under the impression some of those will be giveaways to supporters. We'll see if Immortal tells me I'm a dumbass or not. I'm getting the spirit in your house to like dubstep. Don't you dare. I hate dubstep. Please don't. I'm going to have to get my spirit in my house to prank you when you visit. All right. Oh, cool. Short is up now. Awesome. I didn't get to see the short yet. Did I get it? Oh, wait. There reminds my channel. My channel's not going to notify me. Duh. Uh, duh. Brain fart there. Let's see. Art Dragon, good to see you. Yep. But yeah, I mean, you guys were talking about localized and nature spirits and stuff. I actually find those are amazing spirits and entities to work with. Um, and honestly, with any practice, I really do. I really find those great to work with in any practice. Do be careful not to confuse nature spirits with fae. Everybody wants to think fae are nature spirits. Fae are not even native to this realm. So a nature spirit is still native to this realm. Um, but do make sure if you're wanting to work with them, you are getting out in that environment, and they may make requests of you, and you need to help out with those requests. It's very common for them to ask you to maybe pick up some brush or whatever and some trash and stuff. Um, and that's fine. That is absolutely fine. I know plenty of nature spirits around forests that want, like the undergrowth, the dead undergrowth and everything removed, because that undergrowth can cause forest fires and just wipe out the entirety of the forest. Um, so that's not an uncommon request for them. But I know the one that I contacted here during the evocation course when I was filming it, I want to say it was during the filming actually. There's a stand of trees out this way over here. If I was looking at my office window, and it's a gorgeous stand of trees, nice little deep wooded area there. But I hadn't been over there at that particular time. I don't, and they were telling me about some little bits of trash or garbage or whatnot that if I had time, I got over there. So I grabbed me a little bag and I went over there and walked that stand of trees and picked it up. Didn't take 30 minutes or an hour or something like that. There wasn't all that much. There's sometimes, they've asked, and it's been a project. It was a day or two project, but if you want to work with localized spirits, then you're going to have to make sure you're equalizing that balance. Let's see, Joshua Key, or Earth, Water. Okay. You mean like singular entity? No. You will find fire elementals. You will find fire spirits. You will find dragons that are based within fire. Same thing with air, water, earth, those things. They're not individual entities. So if you're asking if like they're a specific entity, like one entity is responsible for all wind, no. But you can find individual entities within there. Like, for example, I want to say I've met something like 70-ish, nearly 80 air spirits that I've worked with in the last 10 or 15 years on a regular basis. Obviously, I don't keep in touch with all of them regularly because, again, we move all the time. Same thing with earth and water. Fire spirits I've dealt with a lot. I'm not going to lie, the fire spirits I usually end up dealing with are usually on sadder project notes. But like the water entities, I love working with them. I've always been someone who's enjoyed water, whether I'm on a creek, a river, a lake, or by the oceans. I've loved being on the water. So I love interacting with water spirits, and since I tend to love to be by the water so often, I tend to work with them a lot. Same thing with earth and forest spirits. I love being around trees and in mountains. I was telling the wife, it's kind of funny. I couldn't wait to get out of where we grew up and out, away from the Appalachian Mountains to get other places. And now I can't wait to get back. I took so many things in those mountains for granted. And now that I'm out, I just can't wait to get back. Like, it is so magical out there to me. And I can't wait to get back. Do they have a connection? Like, do they know each other? Not all spirits know each other. So that would be, if you're talking about that kind of connection. No, the closest connection they would have is they all work within that element. That would be the closest connection. But that's like saying all carpenters are carpenters. They don't know each other. They may never even see each other, but they're all carpenters, right? Or you could even say they're all humans, like all humans. It would literally be that big of a broad, almost pointless connection. I can't call it pointless, but you see how vague that connection would be. So, like where I'm at right now, if I was to give the name of an air spirit, the place we lived 3 years ago, I would be very safe in betting $6,000 they don't know each other. And that's even still in the same country. Let's see. Has there been any entity that you have worked with that gave you any sort of prophecy? Well, I guess it depends on how you define prophecies, because there have been entities that have told me things that did pan out in ways that I didn't expect. I mean, obviously, many of you know how I got into dragon magic, where, it's like, I was told that those books exist. I need to study this. This is going to be something you're going to love and you're going to be, you'll excel at. You should do this. Is that a prophecy? I don't know. I don't really consider it one. Some people I know do. I don't. I think it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I think it's cool, but I honestly think there's better dragon magicians out there than me. I'm definitely not the great redneck hope for dragons, believe me. That being said, I have met entities that have, I would say, would almost fall into prophecy, because they spoke it in a very riddled way, and like it's like, what the hell's that supposed to mean? And then like 2-3 years down the road, everything falls into place, and like every sentence of that riddle made absolute perfect sense, and is like, holy hell. So if you're looking for like the truly riddled one, I'd say yes. But even those prophecies, like those were more on a personal level, even a warning. Like if I figured it out beforehand, I could have probably avoided a lot of pains in the asses. But then there's been things where I have had entities point blank say, hey, Drake, this thing or this person is a problem. You need to do something about this problem or you're going to regret it. And this thing or this person is a dear friend, or it's something I like. And it's like, I'll keep that in mind, but right now there's no issues, right? And I wished I had heeded that, because yeah, it blew up in my face. So, I mean, if you count those as prophecies, it depends. Like I've heard people depict prophecies in so many different ways. Now, at the same time, I don't know if it counts as prophecies per se, but I have been working with like the draconic rulers and doing scrying and trying to figure out patterns and unweave it and look forward to where things may go if things continue in those things. And I got really, truly just screwy depressed, because I'm seeing where things could go, how stupid humanity can be, right? And I actually stopped doing that. However, up until the point I started looking that far forward with all those things, like my friends were even getting annoyed, because like I was so like sunk down in the mud of just how stupid humans were becoming. Like I didn't have a good day. Like there was no joy in my day. Like I was just consumed with the patheticness of where we were going. So that's why I stopped it, because you should enjoy life. You shouldn't be miserable of something that hasn't happened yet. Now, that being said, a lot of those friends have come to me and it's like, dude, you predicted this, or you predicted this, or you predicted this. And yeah, I saw the pattern, but whether I saw it or not, things were going to happen. I don't really know if I count that as prophecy. And I'll be honest, I don't want to keep looking those things forward. I'm not a fan of prophecy, if that makes some sense there. Now I try to only look forward on me, on my life, and try to live my life the best I can, because I'm not getting stuck into that doldrummy murk of worrying about shit again. The Appalachians are special in a lot of ways. Oh, I love them. I really do. Took getting out to show me how much I love them. Kenny, the Appalachian Mountains have a pull to the when you were raised here. Yep, they really do. They really do. I think almost any place does that for the most part, right? And when we're young and stupid, we don't appreciate just exactly what we have around us, right? And there's that rebellious streak where you want to get out, you want to see more, you want to see what's out there. Don't get me wrong, I am glad I have been out there and I've seen things. I've been to 48 states. I've got to absolutely enjoy the 48 inner United States. And even now, we're planning on potentially taking a cruise or something to Alaska or Hawaii and complete seeing all the different areas that we can see. But there's so many things I grew up loving about those mountains. The ability to go hiking up into those mountains to find all the little things, all the spooky tales and everything. Just the peacefulness about it. Lightning bugs, the thunderstorms, even the damn tornadoes. There's just, I don't know, I miss it. But I honestly think a lot of people have that same thing. Like for me, this is not an attack, this is not a diss, but currently speaking, the place I dislike the most is California. And I thought I would love California growing up because I grew up seeing, the beaches and, all that stuff. And then every time I've ever been to California, it has just been filled with rude people who they're all in a hurry. They ain't got the time of day for squat. And I just, it was not an enjoyable place for me. The most fun I had in California was actually when I was away from everyone out in the dunes, and we had some dirt bikes just tearing up some dunes and having some fun. And we rode dirt bikes for a day out in the middle of nowhere. And anytime I was around people, it was just miserable. And it sucks because I looked so forward to getting to California, right? It was a big letdown for me. But I'm willing to bet if you were born and raised and grew up in California, I could be wrong. I've heard a lot of people starting to dislike California for different reasons. We're not going to get political. But I suspect you would have the same ties emotionally to California that, other people have to their areas. I just think that's pretty much, I think that might be natural for a lot of people. That being said, there's probably people out there where, for whatever reason, they have enough beef against their home area. They don't like it. They're never going back. They ain't going. You can't make them go back. I always thought that was me. I did. I really did. I thought I had so much reason to dislike where I grew up that I'd never go back. But hey, things change, right? Don't close the door on something. You never know. You never know where life's going to lead you. And honestly, I think that's one of the most magical things about life. I tell people every day, get out there, live. Don't get lost. Don't use magic as escapism. Don't use video games as escapism. Get out there and experience things. Get out there and meet people. Get out there and try food. Does that look weird? Have you never ate that? What is that? I don't know. Give it a try. You might like it. You might hate it. It might gag you like a spoon. But hey, that's an experience to have and a great story to tell, right? There's a lot of dumb things I've done with my friends or solo. But anyone who's ever caught me on an unfiltered live chat in the community knows I got a lot of crazy ass stories because of my life. And I wouldn't have that if I just sat inside and didn't do anything. And to me, that is actually one of the most magical things about life is getting out there and experiencing it and meeting the people and learning. And no matter how different we are, if you can actually take time to not be an asshat to each other, I think you'll be surprised just how much you can find in common with anyone. Just a thought. Let's see. I took an ex from out. Matthias says this. I took an ex out west camping here once. She described it was walking into a fairy tale forest. So yeah. There it really does have that fairy tale forest feel up in those mountains. It really does. Were you in North Cal or Southern Cal? I've been all through California. Okay. One of my original mentors was raised out in California. He was 25, 26 before he left California. He was technically born in Japan. I think he lived in Japan until he was like 2 to 3-ish. And then they moved to California because his dad was American, his mom was Japanese. Anyway, aside from that, he grew up out there. So that was his old stomping grounds. I mean, I remember when he first came over and we were talking, like he was surprised we wore shoes. Like apparently Californians had this idea that Kentuckians don't wear shoes. So he was surprised we had shoes. I was like, what'd you expect us to wear? But yeah, I've been all up and down north and south in California. No, I'm not gonna lie. There's little pockets of California that are nice. But as an whole, yeah, no. Let's see. Like if you love California, no digs against you. None at all. I'm a live and let live person. But at the same time, like Jade, if you're here, Jade, you can probably chime in and agree with this. Jade's an individual who lives in a warm climate, right? So like 60 degrees and 40 degrees is cold to her. Well, 40 degrees isn't cold to me. Like 40 degrees is early fall because where I came from, 120 in the summer, no air. That would be normal. Negative 20 in winter, nothing but ice storms. That would be normal. So, I'm used to extremes on both sides. So you got to understand that different people, the way you grow up and what you adapt to and what you enjoy and don't enjoy would be very different. So if I was to take Jade and buy her a house back in my hometown, during summer, she's going to have a blast. I have no doubt she's going to love the lake. She's going to be loving running around the creeks and the hollers and the mountains and going camping. Okay, camping might freak her out a first time or two until she gets used to some of those noises, right? But around fall, when the temperature goes, she's going to look like Kenny from South Park. Only now she's going to need more clothes than Kenny because she's just going to have this little hole like this. Because she's going to be freezing her ass off, and she's not going to like those mountains. So you got to take things like that into consideration, right? Yes, freezing here. Can't stand 30 to 50 degrees. See, there we go. So see, I've barely wore a jacket this year, and it's been down in the 20s still. Like I've got a light, it's like a light Dickies mechanic jacket. That's the heaviest jacket I've put on this whole year. But at the same time, where I grew up, like summers would kill me. Like I spent summers in water. Okay. That's just where I spent my summers. It was like in water. And as hot as it was in Kentucky, where I grew up in the summer, like I get warm. But then I went to Texas to visit a friend of mine. Like this dude dresses all in black, had the black cowboy hat, everything. I mean, he dressed good. And we're going to work. Like I'm making sure, I got an old T-shirt on and everything. I make sure it's a white T-shirt. I don't usually wear white, but it's freaking Texas in summer. I didn't bring anything but jeans and my boots, so screwed there. We're throwing hay all day long. I'm dying. I am dying. I am one of those, I don't like to work without a shirt. I don't like to go around without a shirt. But I was dying so bad, I was like, screw it, I'm stripping. This dude dressed all in black, button-up shirt. He's somehow not managing to get hay on it. He's just slinging hay all day, like nothing's wrong. And I'm like, how are you not dying? He's like, I grew up in this. I hate you. But okay, let's get the work done. So, when we think about the areas that where you're drawn to and love, you got to think about those. Sometimes there's more to it. Because there is something to be said about the ice storms and everything. Like my wife don't like cold, but she still loves the winters back home because, there was the whole hot cocoa, the hot buttered rum, time around the campfire, building snowmen and snow forts and snowball fights and sledding, all those little things. Those little things can make a huge difference in the emotional attachment to an area. And don't underestimate the magical pull of an emotional attachment to an area. Don't. Let's see. Hello, it was 20 degrees here the other morning, but at lunchtime it was 32, and I thought that felt pretty good. Yeah, 32. Yep, I get you. I got you there. There's been many mornings I've gone out on the farm. It was 20 degrees or lower. You're all bundled up and you're working around noon. It hits 30, 32 degrees, and you're shedding layers. Let's see. Well, here's an interesting question for my community. Where you can tell me this about where you live now or where you're from. What was one of your favorite parts about where you're living now or where you're from? What is one of those magical things about it, right? In fact, I'll start because y'all know I'll go home, right? But I don't usually I'm not going to give out my actual designated location. It gets weird when you're on YouTube, but even though I'm not uberly fond of where we're at this moment, I can say this much. Like, there is a lot of water around us, and there is a lot of forest, and there's some great camping areas. So even though I can't get out and do a lot of things I'd like to do, and there's a lot of stupid restrictions, if you want my personal opinion, there's still a lot of great nature to get out and experience. And there's certain parks in this area that have massive, massive elemental energy pockets. That is just amazing. Anytime you get to go camping over there, you can sit down, you can meditate. It's just freaking amazing. I love it. And I honestly got to admit, like the land spirits around here, I really enjoy them. They're very quirky. But then there's something just magical about the nature. Like when we go, anytime we're driving around here, because like the nearest Costco is probably an hour or two away. Where I grew up, not a big deal. The nearest grocery store was 45 minutes away where I grew up. So, we do it. We try to do a Costco trip on the regular. We like to buy bulk, try and save a little money if we can. That drive's beautiful. It really is. It's beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous. A lot of good, tall, big trees. Love it. At the same time, there's plenty of coastal regions. Like, there's a lot of, I love when we get to drive down Front Street and whatnot because it goes right down by the bay. And again, I'm a sucker for water. So there's plenty of things to find and that are very enjoyable and beautiful if you're willing to look. Get out there, walk in there, and enjoy it. All right. So there, I went first. Thomas, by the way, happy Lunar New Year. Hey, yeah, that's right. Happy Lunar New Year. It's a big thing here in Korea. Thomas, I don't think I realized you were from Korea or in Korea currently. That's cool, man. Yeah, that is a huge thing in Korea and areas like that. That is cool. I bet that is a blast. Honestly, I bet that is a blast in Korea. I bet they throw a big old party over there. Let's see. I'll be honest, one of the things, like, people always ask me about weather magic, and I've told people there's consequences to weather magic. There's a balance to it. You got to be careful. And I'm looking at possibly doing a video more detailing that, or having a workshop on it in the community. But one area where, like, anyone who took Dragon Magic 102, there's a specialty dragon in there that works in weather. But one of the first things I had that dragon help me with was basically microclimates, to where it allowed me to manipulate air very close to me and around me, so that even in summer, if I had a trench coat on, I could regulate my temperature better. And my big test for this, I actually went down to Savannah, Georgia in the height of summer at the peak of heat. And I took nothing but black clothes, and I was going to utilize this methodology to control my body temperature so I didn't die. And my goal was to not only stay comfortable, but not to sweat like somebody just dunked me in the river. So, and it was a very successful test. Honestly, that has to be hands down my favorite use of weather magic ever. That being said, I will say it's made me more comfortable in winter, though I would not actually recommend it for cold. If you're going to be out long time, you still need to bundle up, because though it can control your surface temperature, I noticed, and keep you warmer, it doesn't do nothing for your core temperature, and your core temperature can still plummet to dangerous levels. So be careful. And with the heat, make sure you're still drinking water and cooling off whenever you can to avoid heat stroke. Because after I saw what the core temperature thingy was, I was like, I didn't think about it, but that might lead you into heat stroke too. Yeah, see, Matthias, you know exactly why I chose to test it there. If you're going to test it, you're going to test it, right? See, Thomas, I like the summers where I grew up. A lot of valleys and mountains along drives when I was younger were cool. Seeing nature instead of Blade Runner streets. What I like now is it is warmer. Hey, that's cool, man. That is cool. Like, honestly, one of my fondest memories of Kentucky is right around fall. Anyone who's ever been to Kentucky, I-75, that's kind of like the major interstate just running across it. Especially from like Eastern Kentucky through Lexington and up into Louisville. But that stretch of interstate during the fall, those trees just turn some of the most beautiful colors. And even if you're going down from Kentucky to like Gatlinburg, especially over that roadway they call the Dragon, the tree colors freaking amazing, especially on those overlooks going over the Dragon. Gorgeous. Absolutely freaking gorgeous. You won't find artwork that beautiful. You won't. See, Kenny, North Georgia Mountain 3 Municipals, and I get good ways back in the woods. What me and my wife do on the weekends. There you go. Get back in the woods. That's it. I want a nice little retirement. Get a piece of property where I can have some privacy. Thomas. Oh, no. I'm an English teacher here. There you go. That's a good job. That would be a good job for me. They won't be speaking English. They'll be speaking hillbilly if I did it. Let's say Matthias, just the aura of the area, especially in the mountains. Also, the smells of the different forests here. Each has its own. Yes, it does. Like, I actually know some of the old timers that can navigate the woods by how the smell changes. Like when I was little, I didn't believe them, but the more time I spent in the woods, the more you pay attention. It's like they were telling the truth. Every little area kind of has its own smell because of the minerals in the soil, the different trees around, the way they're mixing, whether there's honeysuckles or not. How much water's in there. All those little things are changing it in such drastic and subtle ways. It's really freaky cool. Yeah, the humidity in Savannah during, yeah, it sucked. I chose to do the test, and I chose to do the best I could with that test, but yeah, the humidity. Oh, the humidity. See, Arc Dragon, I loved NOLA in the 90s. Back then, the city had an enchantment throughout the city. Best years of my life. Oh, I can understand that. NOLA in the 90s was really nice. It was. You know, I'll admit, like, I thought it was just me and getting old and cantankerous, and I thought I was actually starting just to become that guy that sits on his porch to scream, "Get off my grass!" But the last time I was in NOLA, it's like it was different. Like there used to be just this amazing, like, I mean, you use the word enchantment, but yeah, like the energy there just kind of picked you up and made you feel good. And it didn't. It wasn't there. Like you walk in and you just like, I almost felt bummed. And I'm blaming me because I'm thinking I'm just getting old and cantankerous. But then I'm talking to some of my friends that live around that area, grew up in that area, and they're like, no, no, city's changed. We can't put our finger on it. And I don't know if all of us are just getting older and cantankerous. Don't know. Don't know. But I hope to God it's us and not the city. I hope that city hasn't changed that much. I really do. Um, Hopefully we're just getting old and cantankerous. That's kind of my thoughts on that one. Jam, I'm from Scotland. I love the easy access to nature here. There you go. Easy access to nature. So yeah. All right. Jade is officially throwing clocks at me. Oh dear God. Okay. All right, everyone. Sorry, I just saw something pop up and I had to read that immediately. So apologize. All right, everybody, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to finish out my little weekend and relax. Probably go have some dinner. I will see you all later. We do have a video coming out this week. It is going to be another one of the Goetia videos. So for those of you who were wondering, yes, I'm keeping up with the Goetia videos. We're also going to try and roll out some more Magic-minded videos and the like. If there are any questions you want me to answer, also, here's another good thing. If you have questions you want me to answer, you can go over to the community. There's a discussion tab. You can post those and say, hey, Drake, here's some questions I've been wondering. They can be occult or not. I will answer the ones that I can. And if we get enough of them, I may even do a video where I just go through and add the answer community questions for everybody. But yeah, I've been getting a lot of emails about random questions and stuff. I will say, don't make them political. I can tell you point blank, if you call me up, if you email me and say, hey, Drake, this political party, I don't like them. I want to screw with them magically. I want to enlist you. I'll pay you. I'm going to say no. Sorry. That's just what I'm going to say. I don't care which political party it is. I believe that we should support the things we support, but at the same time, I'm not going to get involved politically as a magician. You know what I mean? I run a YouTube channel for self-empowerment, self-mastery. You know, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, just so y'all know. All right. All right, everybody, you have a fantastic week. If you haven't, join us over at the community. And I pop in there regularly. I did a couple lives last week to test out a few things. We're still testing out the new tool set. I think everybody's loving them. But I will see you later. All right. Take care. Good night.